Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 83 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Luis from Transom in Puerto Rico. Let's go!
Hey there, Boo Bear.
Howdy. Why the tardiness?
Well, I was here working on finishing stuff up around the shop, and then I called a buddy who's a nearby printer and asked him if he wanted a bunch of free shit.
Oh, that's more important. Okay, cool. So,
helping a friend, helping another printer. Yeah.
well, I mean, you know, that is nice. But just the timing. So, hey, are we recording?
I don't know. Are we? Hey, it's a new year. Can't wait to be near you.
Shh.
Rubbing you.
No. Here we go. Okay, so
All right. I see how this is going to go today.
what the fuck day is it even? You know, I've been off for so long, I've lost track. I know it's Sunday, so it's the second day, right? Second day of the new year. Second day of 2022.
And I wanted to be tardy.
That's not a good. That's not a good way to start it off. But I have something to
Sorry,
show you.
Dad.
So, well, well, never mind. I won't go there. We're gonna do this. We're gonna have positive vibes. Putting it out.
You're not mad. You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
Check this out. So last week I showed you that I got the smallest. I think it was the world's smallest shop vac for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, my kiddo and his girlfriend Trinity gave me that, and they gave me that T-shirt. The ones that
I made fun of.
It said oats, and you thought it said oats and hose.
Oats and hose, yeah.
Well, I also have another world's smallest something that I think you're going to like. Are you ready?
Yeah, I know you do. Oh, you got something else?
Man, did I set you up perfectly for that one. You're welcome. No, it's this.
That's the smallest Uno?
Like,
Wow.
I don't know if you can see. That's fucking small. I'll hold it next.
I believe you.
This is a business card. Ready? That's a business card. That's the Uno card. That's how small it is.
That's usually what you use for size comparison.
Yeah, this went wrong. This whole bit went perfectly right. I mean, so they're going to be like, who cares that you have
Tiny Uno?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what.
Tiny Uno makes way more sense, like a million times more sense than a tiny shop vac. Because you could put Tiny Uno in your pocket and be like, hey, fuckers, want to play Uno?
Well, you could have a tiny shop vac in your pocket and say, hey, fuckers, I got this. And you can clean something up if there's a spill. Although it didn't work very good. It didn't suck very good.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't, you want me to see here? I'll set you up. So it didn't suck very good.
Mm-hmm.
You say it. Go ahead.
Mm-mm.
Go ahead.
New year, new me, Andy.
I don't believe it. I am going to show off something I'm very proud of. And that is this bad boy.
Your Blockbuster card?
Mm-hmm. Check that. It is the last Blockbuster. Remember how we were talking to In the Zone? So Andy, thanks for the rad podcast every week. Here is your official membership card to the last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon. Merry Christmas, Dina and Josh, In the Zone Inc. So apparently I can just go rent movies all I want right here. I just got to go to Oregon though.
And return them.
Yeah, maybe they have some sort of, you know how Netflix started out? For the kids out there, the kids think that Netflix was always just, oh, I have internet and I can watch Netflix. No, you and me, we know that you rented a DVD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would arrive in your mail and then you would send it back.
I did that for a while.
Yeah, me too. Okay. And then we're moving on. It's going to slowly rise.
That's a good idea.
Doing good. You're doing good. You're off to like, man, this is an amazing 2022. It's a massive change.
Trying.
It's massive.
Oh God, this is going to be difficult.
I got this.
Yeah. I thought maybe you could learn a thing or two.
Yeah, it's Silkscreen Masters, a book, and it says Secrets of the World's Top Screen Printers. So thank you, bud.
Yeah.
And the other one, it's hard. This one was soft. This one's hard.
Is it? Tell me about it.
That is a soft cover. This one's a hard cover. And this one says New York Times best-selling author Maddie Matheson, Homestyle Cookery.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
I know you love to cook, bud.
Yeah. So thanks, man.
Anytime. Merry Christmas. Love you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Well, how was your week?
Is that all you got?
Yeah, that's all I've got. That's all I've got to show.
Okay.
Well,
Right.
I've got so much more, but I thought that I'd turn it over to you and see what your week was like.
Did you take? Yeah, you took time off. You would.
Mm-hmm.
I did 0 time off.
That sounds healthy.
Yeah, it was nice. I had a ton of renovation stuff to do around the shop and just improvements. And me and my dad came in and just knocked a shitload of them out. So it was nice.
Why don't you tell us about a couple of them?
Oh God. I don't know. They're nothing like is holy shit. That's amazing. But in the shop, the whole left side wall needed like fixed up and painted. So we did that. We put in like a new exterior door. So that's nice and new. And then the fold out table at the end of the dryer just was kind of like beat up and dirty looking from like years of use and whatever. So I put a new top on it, painted that. And then I moved. The big thing is that I had this whole section of the shop that was like heat presses, the manual, and like, I don't know, a bunch of carts and all that. It just looked like a corner of shit. So I organized all that. I moved it all out of there. None of it's there anymore except the manual, which I'm trying to sell if anyone needs a 6-color 4-station Sidewinder.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do for a manual?
I'm not done with it. It's over. If I need to print anything manually, I'm just going to get like the 1-color option thing. I'll just use one of our live print setups or something and print tags or something if I have to. But I'm done with the Sidewinder. We
just for space too, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the goal is I cleared out that whole area and I put in a PO to order a 6-color 8-station Sportsman and a fusion dryer. So that's going to go there. So adding another auto.
Don't you wish you could just use your Sprint, like getting another dryer? I mean,
yes and no.
Takes up space.
It'd be nice to use it just as like a functionality and like not have to have another dryer and another thing that you have to add to like electric and everything else.
Right.
But it is nice now to have, like, not even that long ago, like I had an issue with a sensor on my Sprint and we were down for like a day. So now I'll have the fusion to where like I can run jobs through that. Because what we were doing when the dryer was down, we had 2 jobs that had to go out that day. I rolled my D100 from live printing over to the Gauntlet 3. And we were fucking running shirts through that.
I would have probably, I mean, I guess depending on the size of the order, we've had something like that happen before and we just flashed the shirts, and then got them off press. It ended up being faster just to flash them and then run them through a smaller dryer. You know what I mean? Yeah. And get them off press. I've done that before. You do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. Don't you?
So I got a ton of that stuff done. And then I came in today from like 1:00 till now and just kind of tried to put everything back and organize to where when we come in tomorrow, it's back to business. Mm-hmm. It's awesome though. I mean, it's like fulfilling to like actually get all that stuff done and get these projects done and look and be like, I did this. This is done. I completed this. I feel good about myself.
Dude, I know the feeling and I'm really proud of you and I'm happy for you too.
Well, you did some of that too.
And I did a little bit. So what did I do when you said I had this week off? Let's see. I watched a lot of Yellowstone.
Are you caught up?
No, we're almost done with season 3. So no, but I can only do so much at a time. I can't do like hours and hours and hours, but so a lot of Yellowstone, a lot of pizza, a lot of, rearranging. So I came in just me and my elbows hurt from lifting so many fucking boxes because I moved all of our like stock way over to the other side of the
So
shop.
you're doing CrossFit.
Yeah, basically. And our shipping and receiving probably doubled, maybe more than that.
That's awesome.
I would say our shipping and receiving is 30 by 50 at least. So what's that? 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, that's another thing that I did this week too, is I got my first semi in. So I am ordering another one now. So hopefully that'll come like next week or the week after.
And it's just a trailer, and
it's just awesome to see, like, have it in person though, to like, because in your mind you're like, yeah, this will work. I didn't get the 40 footers. I got they're like basically like 30 foot. They're 30 feet long and they're 8 feet wide, which actually fit perfectly where I wanted it to, and it didn't stick out too far from the building. Because here we have to worry about snow. So
is that why you put that exterior door, is to have access to that?
No, that was a door that went out to our back deck where we grill and stuff. But the door that was there before was just like this big steel door that had no like insulation around it. The door wasn't actually insulated, and it was just like kind of a shitty door. And didn't latch very well. It had like just like a slide lock. So I wanted to replace that and that one swung in. So that was the problem. That's why we had to get rid of that, is because it swung in. So if I put the auto there, it would be in the way. So I wanted to get an outswing door so that it wouldn't be in the way. But yeah, at the end of very end of my building, I have a door on the side, and we're replacing that with like a roll up door. And then we're going to build a deck that goes out that's like beefy to both trailers. So all we can do is roll the door up, pallet jack out into whatever trailer we want to get stuff out of.
Beautiful.
But once you actually have them there and sitting, it's nice to look in and be like, this is a lot of fucking room. So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Stoked for you.
Trying to get everything together and ready so that this year is, that's what we talk about on the podcast a lot, about how you have a really busy year and you get through it and you're like, oh man, but then in the slow time or the downtime, you like get shit ready to where that's not going to happen again, and you're more prepared.
Yeah.
Or you try as hard as you can to get there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that even if I don't get everything accomplished, because I have this huge list, and even if I don't accomplish it all, I know that we're going to make some progress, especially this week. Like I have a list yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah. I made a list of all the things I want to do just the very first week, just to start, at least get started, because before you know it, all of a sudden it's February and then we're busy and then there's no time. You know what I mean? So I'm going to get after it. Hey, but what do lawyers wear to work?
Bulletproof vests.
I think some probably do. Yeah. No, they wear lawsuits. That's all I got. Do you have one?
Why does the naked man's phone never work? No shirt, no shoes, no service.
Darn it. I was going to say, I don't know. Why doesn't your phone work? See that? I was almost got that out. You were late, so we have 3 minutes to get through these sponsors. So let's make this.
I want to see how fast you can do these. You fucked it up.
Dropped it.
I hope you didn't bend a corner or dent it.
It's okay.
Are you ready?
I was worried, but it's paper, so
all right, cool.
Didn't break.
Break. Oh, it feels good to do that. I feel like it's been a bit.
Dylan, if you haven't tried thin thread yet, what's wrong with you?
Why are you talking to me like this? I've done all this.
Oh, let's rewind this. Hey guys.
Hey guys. Andy here.
Yeah, you do me. Yeah, do me.
Oh, no. I don't want to. This will go bad. We won't be friends anymore.
Hey, so get some thin thread. It'll change your life. Just call Frank, say, I want a sample pack. I think it's 6, like a 6-pack.
Yeah. Ship
me a 6-pack of thin thread. Ask for this. For sure, get some 158.
Mm-hmm.
And then
140s.
Sure, 140s, 180. And we also use 230 here because we thought, why not everything thin? So yeah, you can find out more at graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF.
Rank.com.
Or
greatfuckingscreens.com.
That's right. Cleaning screens is hard, but Easy Way makes it easier. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will help you keep your screens and your shop clean. Check them out at easyway.com. Easy Way.
It's the easiest way.
Action Engineering. I don't know.
I love how you were like, all right, this is what I'm going to do.
thought it would sound different.
Perfect.
Well, they make accessories printers need, and they have all kinds of stuff on their website at actionengineering.com. And be sure to use Shirt Show at checkout and receive 15% off what?
A one-time purchase.
That is right.
So don't waste it.
Although we're talking to them, and I think that's going to get changed up pretty soon. So
yeah,
fast.
We want to make everything as cool for you guys as possible. So we're trying to do something a little different.
That's right. For 2022, maybe a different something. Right?
But for right now, that works.
Right. Monarch Color makes a mixing system that both of us use, right? I mean, we both love it. It's the best for me in our shop, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for you. It's the best we've ever used.
Yes.
Why is it, Dylan? Why is it the best you've ever used?
Because of the high opacity mixing system, and
Boom.
their whites are beautiful and creamy, and the low bleed inks are bulletproof. So it's all good all around.
Learn more at monarchcolor.com. Ink better, print better, be better.
Live Moss. Monarch.
That's it, right? That's it.
Dude, we did that whole thing in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. You're a pro.
You're so good.
Today's guest is Luis Sobrino. And you know what? I got that wrong, but I checked. And here, you ready? Google. I checked on Google. Here's how you say it. Ready?
Luis.
You get it? Here.
Mm-hmm.
Luis.
Sure, man.
Luis.
You typed that in to find out what the pronunciation was?
I'm that kind of guy. I care. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I want to do my best. I want to
You know what you do is if you don't know what it is, you just say, hey man, or hey dude, or hey person. Then you never have to say their name. Life hack.
Today's guest is Hey Person. He's from Transom Screen Printing in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where I also, while I was looking that up, noticed it was 81 degrees out.
It's disgusting.
Or as you would say, gross.
Yeah, it's gross as fuck. What is that? What is that flannel you have on? It looks really good. I like it. It's no Dixon, but
It's not a Dixon, although it does really look like it, doesn't it?
it just looks fancy.
It's
You know what? You look like a guy,
outerwear?
and this is not a knock at all. You look like a guy who would wear. This isn't a knock. I want one. You look like a guy would have the flannel that would have like the leather patch elbows. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because that means it takes more wear and tear down there.
I understand.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying you would look handsome in one.
Oh, thanks. But no, this doesn't have the leather patch, but it is from Outdoor Research. You heard of that? Outdoor Research.
I don't know where you buy your clothing.
Shirts.
Probably got that at Target. Old Navy.
What's wrong with Target? Target's awesome. Shut up.
Okay.
And we should talk about screen printing, yeah?
We should see if the beautiful, lovely, sexy people that listen and watch this show could do us a favor and make sure I never have to ask for this ever again, because I really hate it. It makes my blood boil to ask you to like and subscribe to our show so that more people can watch this, or it will get out to the actual people who want to see it, because algorithms below. We don't care about anything else other than the people who want to see this being able to see it in their feed. So,
okay. And one more take of that exact thing that you just said, only just maybe a little bit friendlier. So ready? Take two.
No, that was friendly.
It was friendly, but you talked about how it makes your blood boil.
I hate asking. I hate being like and subscribe, bros.
Sound like Kermit the Frog a little bit there.
Well,
all right. So here we go. You ready? I'm going to stretch
stretching?
out my elbows. My elbows hurt. I told you that.
I'm getting one of those headaches again at like the base of my skull.
You're going to die in this episode?
Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be like sweet for ratings? And then like I come back to life like minutes later. I mean, I don't want to like die.
Right. Yeah, just like a near-death experience.
Right. I want to like near death, but then right before I die, I grab like the electrical wire out of this like lamp and I fucking like shock myself back to life.
Yeah, that would be like
Awesome.
Yeah, people would be like, man, Dylan's so hard.
Rock hard. Oh, look at that sweet view.
That is sweet.
That is awesome. I want to.
I've always wanted to have like framed t-shirts, of like some of our favorite t-shirts just framed. I don't know if that's what that is, but it kind of looks like it.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. What about you guys?
Great. See, Andy, see what I did there? I didn't have to pronounce his name.
Yeah. So we Googled how to pronounce your name and I think we got it right, but yeah. How do you pronounce it?
Luis. It's not Luis like Ouis, but it's Luis.
Right.
That's my middle name is Louis.
Really?
But I'm not Luis.
Like Dylan Lois.
Dylan Lewis.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
Lewis. It's not like Luis.
Like
That's Luis.
Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I have a nickname that everybody calls me. It's Toño. Because I'm Luis Antonio. So the people that call Antonio, they call him, like in Latin, they call Toño. So that's my nickname.
Nice.
It's like a N with a top phrase that you don't have it in English. So it's Toño.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But you can call me Luis. It's better for you guys.
Okay, cool. So what's going on, man? How's your Sunday?
Great, man. We're expanding here our showroom, doing some work here. Taking this week off because here in Puerto Rico, this week is like free. We call the Three Kings Day. It's on the 6th or on the 5th. So this week we're doing like more expanding the showroom, doing some painting, cleaning. We always do that once a year. So it's happening this week.
We were just talking about doing that. That's all I did this last week, but you're doing it this coming week?
Yeah, we're starting tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. Last year we did it like in 2 days. It was pretty fast. I think this year is going to take like 4, probably. Yeah.
You think it's going to take 4 and then it's going to take 8.
I hope not,
Yeah.
But let's see. We have, the plan for everything. So
Right.
Are you in your office right now?
I'm we have like a conference area, kitchen area. My office is in the other side. We have like a mezzanine here. Is where we guys hang out at their lunchtime. We have our fridge and everything, more or less. Yeah.
It's really
I've always
sweet.
thought that was cool. Yeah. Don't you like that when there's like a office or I guess in this case, just a break room and it looks down over the print floor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super great. We can see everything. My office is right next to the conference area, the kitchen area. So when I bring one of the employees to talk about something, you can hear everything because everything is wood and all that. So you got to be careful, bring them like in hours that nobody's up here. So, but it's pretty nice and seeing everything. I can see everything from upstairs. I touch the glass. Hey, you got to do something, or something's wrong. And
or you can moon the whole staff from up there. It's perfect.
I can scream and they'll hear me.
You just said something that made me think, because the difference between an open door and a closed door meeting. So like when somebody comes in here and I'm talking to somebody from the team and I close this door, like everybody knows like, oh, okay, well, fuck, there's something serious going on. But, and so I sometimes just on purpose, like I leave the door open. I'm like, hey, don't close the door. And sometimes I say close the door. Sometimes they come in and just close the door. Do you have a policy? What do you guys do? I
close the door for everything. Sometimes we're even talking about their vacations, their sick days. We pay here sick days. I like leaving everything private. If it's something about an order, I'll leave it open. We're talking about orders, But when we close the doors, probably something not bad, but more serious, So, but yeah, sometimes it's open. When it's closed, probably something serious, but most of the time it's closed.
I kind of like to do it just to fuck with people. Like, I've done it with Megan a bunch where like I'll go out and I'll talk to her and I'll be like, hey, Megan, can you come to my office and talk to me? When it's something I could probably tell her right then and there. But then she comes like nervously to my office. And then when she walks in the door, I'm like, can you please shut the door? And it's literally just to fuck with her. It has nothing to do with like, I actually have something serious I need to talk to her about. And she's like, what? I'm nervous. And I'm like,
yeah, when you say,
oh, hey, can you just do that thing for me?
They're like scared.
I sometimes have, if there's a meeting of more than one, maybe there's like a two, maybe a department, you know what I mean? Like maybe the graphics team or something like that, or design team. I will go in, I'll on purpose not have it here and also not have it in their office. Like, let's go somewhere neutral, because the moment, I think if you come into my office, then there's some sort of a certain energy, and I want it to be more of maybe a neutral, energy. Like, hey, this isn't anything, nobody's in trouble. We're just talking about, I don't know, maybe some goals or maybe something that happened, and we should not do it in my office. We also shouldn't do it in their office. It just changes the environment. You know what I mean?
Our mezzanine, our space area, our graphic, our sales part is all open. It's very open spaces. So the only private space probably, is my office. If they want to talk something to me, if I go to them, I go to their space and, we need to talk something about an order. So I go to them. So it's not a big issue. But I like open space. It's pretty nice. We can scream, hey, come over here, or I go to them. So we like open spaces.
Have you ever slammed the door shut?
One time. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, one time.
We've all
I haven't done it.
I know. It's a mistake. Like, don't ever. I was so pissed though, and I slammed the door so hard that like some shit fell. And I'm like, that wasn't very smooth, because you have to be. I try to be calm under pressure, because the moment I lose it, then I'm not setting a good example, and I don't know, I regret it. And so I have slammed the door though. I slammed my phone down. It's been a couple of years, but I've slammed my phone down.
I mean, I have, it's like every job, you have different employees changing. And as far as right now, this year, we have a great team. I haven't slammed the door this year. So we have a great press operators, great girl in the exposure part, great graphic parts, great salesperson. So, man, we have a great team. It's what everybody wants in the shop. So I'm
cheers to no door slamming in 2022.
I have that like dad thing ingrained in me, where like at my house, if one of the kids slams the door, it immediately triggers me. Like, Libby was doing that to me. Like, I don't know, it's probably like 2 weeks ago now. We were upstairs and I was like, you need to get in the shower. And she was like, just give me a really hard time about getting in the shower. And I was like, get in the shower. And she finally like went to the bathroom, and the bathroom's directly across the hallway from like my bedroom. And she went in the bathroom, turned around, looked at me, grabbed the door and slammed it like as hard as she could, looked right at me.
What'd you do?
Like, I just instantly like reacted, snapped, and I fucking punched the door. Like, I just punched it so hard, like full force into like an old house wood door. And I had zero control over it, my body. I was just like, dads are just like, don't slam the door on me. And it's just like, it happened like right in front of me. And I was just like, fucking.
I think that's why that's why I don't slam the doors here, because when I was a kid, me and my brother, my mother will scream at us, and we go to the room and slam the door, and she will come behind with her heels and throw it to the door and open the door and hit us.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's like a thing ingrained in you of like, don't you dare slam the door in the house.
Exactly.
My stepson, Lucas, I don't know, it's been a while, 5 years at least. He was probably 8 or 9 or 10. And so we pulled the, I'm going to slam the door shit, and so we did. He slams the door. And so I knock on the door, and I say, and he's like, what? I go open the door, and he opened it. I go, that's not what we do here. I said, so let's practice how let's practice how we shut the door. And so I made him practice shutting the door really softly, like 25 times.
I wish I punched through the door and then grabbed the door handle on the inside and opened it. And I was like, let's try that again. Like it would have been but I didn't punch hard enough to go through it because it's like an old house, like thick wood door. It was just like, it felt so good to punch it though.
It feels so good to slam it sometimes, but really it's the wrong thing to do. So yeah, no door slamming in 2022.
No
right?
door slamming. Nope.
So what is it you guys are expanding this week? Like you said, the showroom?
Yeah, the showroom. Our showroom is like, it's not tight, but it's pretty rectangular. And we have like a space that was lost. We were like having it for, furniture and all that. So we're expanding that so we can get better declines. Most now the COVID thing, we don't want all the people all together there. So we have pretty good space there to expand. So we're doing that. And on the production part, painting the floor, cleaning the machines. We do that often, cleaning the machines, but, a pretty good cleaning part. All the painting the walls, start the year pretty nice and neat.
Yeah. That's something that I've been thinking about quite a bit over the past couple of years. And me and Andy actually went to Nashville and visited a shop a little while ago, and he had the epoxy floors. I think we talked about this a little bit, but his thing with the floors, like getting the nice epoxy floor and everything he had in there, was he was really trying to get a certain clientele that came in and felt like impressed with like the presentation of the shop and like his showroom. And it made them feel secure in placing large orders with them because they knew that this was a clean, tidy place. And like, it was impressive to like show off like everything he had press wise and showroom wise and everything. I've kind of just always had that, like, I'm very tidy and I like to have like things neat and organized. But like I said, this past week I went out there and like I didn't have to paint a wall. Like it was white. It was just like had marks in it. It was dingy, whatever. And I was like, no, I want to like freshly paint all this. I want to add more lighting. I want to like make it nicer. So, and now that it's done, you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is way nicer.
Andy, how do you maintain your shop, the floor clean every time?
Yeah, well, that's one thing I would love. I would love epoxy floors in my shop, but I can't. And that was one of the things, like we were talking to the guy in Nashville about it. And he was like, yeah, he's like, we just have to like, he had like, didn't he have like a floor cleaner, like a polisher, like a grocery store would?
I think he might have, but his entire shop, not just by the presses, but his whole shop had that. Yeah. He said it was like $30,000 or something to do with, really expensive. Yeah. But I think it serves a lot of purposes. I mean, it keeps your floor easy to clean. His was like a bright blue color. It looked really cool. And like you said, I think he gives a lot of tours. So he's in Nashville and he's going to give tours to music industry people. And he wanted to bring them through and have them see that he runs, a nice shop. And I think that's important. So it's the worst, sometimes we let it go a little, if we have a busy week or something. And I think what I think looks dirty here, and then a customer comes through, it just happens to you and you want to show them and it's a little messy. I just always say, well, we've been really busy, but still, I think it's not bad. It's pretty organized. And also I think it conveys a message to your team that we want to, like, this is how we are. We want to be clean. We want to maintain these presses, because you've seen those pictures of presses that are 10 years old and they look 1 year old. And you've seen presses that are 1 year old and they look 10 years old.
30 years old, covered in ink and lint and everything.
That's
I love
not
when people
thing.
post those photos on Facebook of like the underside of the press where the mechanics are. And they're like, this is loose. What do you think this is? And they show the picture is like, how can you even fucking see it? It looks like you have sweaters on everything. Yeah. It's just like lint everywhere. It's disgusting.
All the squeeze, all the everything, all paint.
The thing is it's like everywhere. It makes your staff out there like proud to be there too, when it's like a nice, clean environment. Like it looks good. You got like good audio systems so they can listen to music. You got like everything to where they feel comfortable and like they like being out there. Like who wants to work in like a dingy, dark, gross environment all day long? Yeah. So it's like even this week, like I was here doing these renovations and I was posting stuff on Instagram stories like as I was getting it done. And my staff were like, oh, I can't wait to see it when I come in. Like, looks so good. I can't wait to go to work. And it's like, it just makes you feel good to be like, all right, I'm giving you a better place to be. But it is nice. Like if you have a big client come in and you're like, yeah, do you want to see the shop? And you can walk them through and they're like, oh, wow, this is really clean and nice.
Yeah.
But you said you're just expanding the showroom, or are you expanding anything for the shop as well?
No, only the showroom. We were thinking about it this past year, and we have this week off to do it. The guys are working right now. So yeah, probably gonna finish tomorrow. More lighting, more space. We needed that on our front side. It's the first part that the clients see. So we're good on that. We want to do that, and so it's perfect timing for that.
Is that normal in Puerto Rico to work? Do you work weekends? I mean, do you have a weekend shift?
Sometimes Saturdays, yeah, if we're pretty rushed. Sometimes I'll come to the shop if I can. I have another job. I run sport fishing boats. But yeah, we come sometimes on Saturdays and do some things here. Even if I come by myself, I can do some paperwork. My wife comes to do some quotes. So yeah, but it's not used to, only if needed.
So now you were saying that you do the sport fishing thing on the weekends. Tell us about that, because it kind of seems like that's what your whole shop is around.
Everything.
So how did you get started in printing, and how did you get into the whole fishing thing?
Yeah, basically on the sport fishing yacht market and everything. You will see like everybody has like boat shirts, and they will give away if you have a boat, you will make shirts of your boat. If you work in a yacht, that super yacht will make shirts, and you like give them away and all that. And always I love that that having shirts from other boats. So basically my father have been having boats since I was a kid, and I always been in the sport fishing industry. About 17, when I was 17, I put my hands on boat handles, and I said, that's what I want to do for a living. So basically when I was about 21, that was my first job as a sport fishing captain. And we did some shirts when I was working on that boat, and the boat was going to be sold. And I said, man, if they sell the boat, I need to find another job or do something. So I remember we did some boat shirts for that boat. And I said, man, what about if I start a screen printing business here in Puerto Rico? I can probably do some things here for the local people, because everybody were doing the shirts, their boat shirts in the US. So I said, what I do, start that business here, and if they sell the boat, I have a plan B. Right. We say here in Puerto Rico that you don't put all your eggs in the same basket. So that's what I did. I gathered some information, got the M&R dealer here in Puerto Rico, but I bought a manual press in 2010, and that's how I started with a manual press, 10 color. Doing, I wanted to do some full color artwork that usually they do for the sport fishing market. So that's how I started in 2010 with a manual press, 10 color from the garage from my parents' house.
That's a big manual to start with.
Yeah. The thing is on the boating industry, they do a lot of 10 color artworks, Yeah. And I show him the dealer, the M&R dealer, told me, I want to do this. You need a 10 color press. But you need an automatic. But it's too much money for me. And I said, well, you can get a manual. Let's do a 10 color manual. Okay, let's do that. So I started with a 10 color manual.
How did you handle that in the beginning? Because that does seem to be kind of like an art complicated market where people want like photos of a boat. Like, how did you get into the art side of it? Did you know any Photoshop or anything like that?
I did some research. Have my old business partner I have with me. He helped me out a lot with designing. I subcontracted some guys in the States that did some work for me. And that's how I started about, the designing part. As far as production part, I hired a local guy here that helped me a lot, doing the printing and everything, because I didn't know anything about screen printing. So he helped me a lot with that. It was pretty hard with a 10 color manual press doing 10 color artworks, with marlins and mahis and boats.
Yeah. Tell me your first job wasn't 10 color. Like the first order you ever printed wasn't 10 color, was it?
No, we started like with CMYK types. And when I started seeing didn't look that bright and, dual. So I told the guys, man, I don't like how that looks, So we started experimenting and doing some works. But yeah, our first job wasn't a 10 color. I started with my father's boat. We did an artwork for him, and that's how we started working out the 10 color artworks and everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back to the boat thing though. Do you have any crazy stories from that? Like taking people out or things that have happened or things you caught?
Crazy stories? No, because I work like a full-time job with a private boat. I don't do like charters or all that. Also, I do deliveries for a dealer here in Puerto Rico. So I do a lot of deliveries from the States and Caribbean for boats here. So stories.
So you're saying you don't do charter. You're saying that you actually go and sport fish and then you catch whatever and you go sell it at market?
No, we don't sell it. We just do like sport, we do numbers, we do release and, we fish tournaments and, but just for private purposes, nothing charter.
So you guys, it seems to be very targeted market. Are you guys still that way? Like it's very targeted towards boating industry?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not, I cannot do it all sport fishing and marine industry as a living for the screen printing. So we go more commercial, clothing brands, events, businesses, restaurants. Because if I go only with the sport fishing and marine industry, it's not too much of a big market to do screen printing every day and every week. So we do everything. But our main niche and where we started was with the sport fishing and boating market, which I love a lot.
That's
too.
good. Yeah. How did you get into the other stuff? Was it just like word of mouth, or you just said, "Hey, I'm
word of
open
mouth
here"?
Word of mouth. It's like everybody. Word of mouth. My sister worked in a agency that they have a couple of brands like Sam's, Walmart. We did a couple of things for their marketing purposes. So that's how we started doing the commercial thing, a part of the marine.
How long did you go manual before you went auto?
We started in 2010 and we started automatic on 2014, 13 when we moved here to Santurce, San Juan area.
Were you out of a garage for a while, or
out of a garage, like everybody else? That type of starting business, the same as you guys in the States. I started on my father's, my parents' garage. We were there 3 years. Same thing. Receiving orders there, starting from there. Our garage was pretty exposed. So all the neighbors were seeing how the process was. And it started to get big and more orders, and getting the clients to my house wasn't that much fun. My parents were there and all that. So I said, man, we need to move somewhere else so we can receive the clients, give better service. But yeah, it started in a garage like everybody else. That's what I always see of you guys and all your persons you have on your podcast. Everybody starts from a garage over there too. Same as here.
Yeah. How long past the point where you knew you needed a space did you go? Like, for me, I knew I needed to get out of the garage, and I probably stayed in the garage for at least a year, knowing that, well, for one, we built a building. I went from a garage to actually building our own, building. And so building the building took like 8 or 9 months. But before I even got that far, I probably should have been out of the garage, maybe even for a whole nother year. So I'm guessing probably at least a year and a half it was for us that I should have been out of the garage. We were just way too big. In fact, it took over our house. Like we were in the living room and the dining room. We were everywhere. So I brought my
clients. I brought my clients to my room to order some of that. But basically, what made us move was putting the order for the automatic press. We didn't have no space to put it there, so that was made us come to a new space. That's what probably made it.
How much trouble did you have finding the space, or did you?
New space, you mean?
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad. It wasn't a time that the commercial spaces here were pretty open and everybody was renting spaces, so it wasn't that bad. And we found a space here in San Juan area, pretty central. And about a month, we were looking and we found this place. The only bad thing about our space is that we don't have good parking, but man, it's pretty centric. It's 3 minutes from my apartment, so we love this place here.
It looks really nice. Have you expanded or taken over more space in that building? On
Maria, that was 2017, we had about 2,000 square feet, more or less, space. That's a wall behind here. So that year we ordered our automatic 8-color. So after that, we expanded like 2,000 more square feet of space plus the mezzanine upstairs. That was 2017. And we needed the space, of course, with the new machine.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could have a mezzanine. I wish our ceilings are only 15 feet. And so we can't pull it off. Unless we had really short, like, 7.5, I guess it would be basically like that, right? 7 foot, 7 foot. You can kind of have it, but it's not really the best. And plus it gets really hot up towards the top of our ceiling. But I wish we had, because we can't grow any more in this building. And so unless we go up, but we really can't go up either, especially, with offices. We could with storage, but we can't with offices. Yeah.
Are your plans moving anytime soon with your space, or are you guys okay there?
For our lease goes, we have 3 more years as of yesterday, I guess.
Same as me. I have 3 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're here.
Are you going to just ride out 3 years and keep going after that? Or are you planning on something?
I'm planning on moving.
Really?
You're going to, oh, really? So you can't expand anymore there? This is your max out? I
can't expand anymore. And about my space, pretty rectangular. So I don't have too much wideness. So it's pretty rectangular. And if I want to put echo rings, if I want to, I don't have that space, new machinery and new equipment. I don't have too much space for that. We're pretty tight. Even a conveyor, and I don't have space for a bigger conveyor dryer to put it here. So I think 3 years probably going to be expanding. And the parking issue is pretty important for us.
Parking's tough. Yeah, we used to have a parking issue before we took over this final section, because that extra, we expanded 5,000 more feet 2 years ago. But before that, it was a dance studio, and they came in so our parking lot was just, destroyed whenever they were open. And so I talked to the landlord, and we only had so many spaces per square foot, right here. And so I actually made a deal with our next door neighbor, the bank, and they had some spaces they didn't use, and we used to park there. If I hadn't had that option, I would have had to shuttle people here. Like, there's a Walmart, and we could probably park about 10 cars over there without being noticed, and then shuttle, like get a van or something, and then shuttle them over here. How else? I mean, what else do you do? So parking becomes a huge issue. It really does.
Yeah. What I do is we do like drive-thrus. When people call and we get some bucks, if it's 4 boxes order, we can throw them out. But if it's big orders, sometimes I know the hours that they can have parking on the front. So I'll tell them what time to come. But if not, we'll do drive-through. Also for the employees, the parking is pretty important. And, I know they need to come early and all that, but if they have a parking space, they can take their time in the mornings and, have an.
You say drive-through, you mean like the customer comes and drives through when you
run, and we'll, give them the boxes, because our shop has like a bus lane on front, and then there's the car lanes, and they're only one way, the cars, their traffic. So they come in, they will go to the bus lane, and we'll drop the boxes for them. We haven't had any complaint from the bus driver yet. So in 5 years more that we've been here, but that's the only way to have the clients happy, because if not, it's hard. It's hard sometimes.
I feel like it's one of those things that like you don't think about. Like you would never think about that when you got your building. You're not like, oh, well, I have adequate parking here.
Yeah,
I feel like you wouldn't think about that. And I'm running into that now too. The more employees I get, like they're kind of having to park across the street or in the grass on the end or whatever. It's like, but I don't know. I could figure it out here, but like I'm not in the city where I'd be like screwed.
I rent 2 parkings lots here close. So what I do once a month, we do like a lottery for the employees. So whoever wins, they get like a week of parking there with their gate and everything. So at least I can help them out with the parking once a month for an employee.
What about you, Andy? After your 3 years, what's your plan?
I'm not staying here.
You're
Coming
not
to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, that sounds amazing actually, but I'm not, because I think it's more, at least that's where I'm at right now today. My answer would be, I'm not staying here because I am at war with my landlord. I mean, I think it's more about just ethical thing. Like I cannot he broke a gentleman's handshake. And so I can't deal with him ever again. It's a long story. I don't have to
What's
go into
the
it
quick
tonight,
and dirty?
but...
Like why is he, what are you guys at feud about?
Okay. Well, cool. So here's the abbreviated version, I guess. And that is the building is 12 years old. We were one of the first, it was brand new when we moved in, our first spot. We were the first tenants here. And so it's, he kind of does maintenance on it, kind of, little things, I guess, but it doesn't look new anymore. It's falling apart. I complain and send him emails, and some of the stuff gets fixed. But if it were my building, like if I owned this building, I would invest in it. I would make it better. And I actually called him about a month ago and I said, hey, I want to buy this, and sell it to me. And he said he would think about it, but the answer is no. And he thought I meant sell it to him in 3 years when my lease is up, but I meant I want to buy it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I clarified that, he said, oh no, I'm not selling it. I'm not selling it now. But like, for example, one of the things that's going to happen is that the AC is starting to require maybe even new AC units, because AC units, commercial AC units, the one we have on the roof, are maybe good for 15 years. Well, we're at year 12. Last year I had one fail and we replaced it. And I'm on the hook. Like I'm on the hook.
You replaced it?
Yeah. Well,
you deducted it from the monthly payment?
No. So like our lease here in this market, the lease says that the tenant takes care of the HVAC, like maintenance part of it. Right. Now, also there's that.
Yeah, but that's not fucking maintenance.
It's not maintenance, right? And so I worked it out with him so that on that one, we split it. So I paid for half. There was like $8,000. I paid $4,000. He paid $4,000. Well, time out. So that was the deal, because I negotiated that and paid something because he gave me a deal on something else. It was just one of these. I had a list of like 4 things. And so I didn't fight that. I gave him that. And I don't think we had read Never Split the Difference, because we like split the difference on it. But the other thing, so I'm going to be faced with, we have 10 of those. And so am I going to, like, during the next year or two, replace, that was just one of the units, there's 10 of them on the rooftop. And so each one is $8,000. That's $80,000. And I'm going to have to, sink into this building probably over the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 years. And it's not my building. You know what I mean? So I don't want to put in a new HVAC system and then not be able to take it with me. And so, and then that's one of the things. And the other thing is that we had a gentleman's agreement and a handshake agreement where my rent was a total number. So let's say my rent was $10,000, that was my rent, and it never changed throughout the duration of the lease. Even though he said for the banks, and I just did air quotes, for the banks, it was triple net. So it's base plus triple net, right? The triple net here in Missouri is insurance, taxes, and maintenance. And so that can change, that can change throughout the year. Your insurance maybe goes up, or your maintenance maybe goes up, or the taxes go up. Well, our deal is that when I signed the lease, he said, look, it's not going to go up. Trust me, we're good. This is just for the banks. because he had a mortgage on it. So for the banks, they want to see that I have that protection. And I'm like, cool, that works for me. Well, 10 years go by and he never adjusts the rent. And we're always good. And because we had that agreement, right?
Did it go up every year or was it?
Renewed. So we renewed the lease a couple of times through there and we expanded. But whatever we agreed on, that number, he never raised it. Like, they do we did a reconciliation. And by the way, your triple net went up because our taxes went up. He never did that to me. He always just kept it because we agreed. Well, this COVID year, I got a letter and said, hey, Andy, rent's going up. I go, are you fucking kidding me? The rent's going up on a COVID year? I go, this is like newsworthy. This will make the news. Like you will be on the news saying that you have a tenant that is trying to survive like a pandemic and keep paying you rent. And you're telling me that the rent's going up. It should be the other way. Like maybe rent should go down. But, and so anyway, he did that and he did it again this year. And so like my rent's due. Tomorrow I'm going to get here on Monday and write a rent check for January. Right. And my rent has gone up because I got another letter that said, hey, by the way, and it's tied to the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. So the rent can never go up more than CPI does, which is kind of good. So there's a max set in there, like a ceiling, it can actually go up. But the problem is the CPI index now is going to be like even higher because it's like inflation and stuff. It's going to keep going up and up and up. And so it's tied to that index, which is going to be a big number. And so
that's what I was wondering is how much did it go up?
I don't remember.
Like significant?
Yeah, dude, it's a lot. Like I want to say like $500 or $600. Like my rent is. Do you want to know what my rent is? It'd be interesting to hear what Puerto Rico. Yeah.
How much is your rent? I'll tell you mine.
13,000.
It's not even close to mine. Much less mine.
Less than yours?
Oof. I have how many square feet? Claudia. Oh, we have about 3,500 here square feet. Plus, I have upstairs. I have the embroidery part. It's like 500 square feet. We pay 3,000, 2,700, but it goes up. So our top is going to be like $3,000 a month. It's not bad, but we don't have parking.
Yeah, we have 12,000 feet and it's, leases are negotiated because some people's, that lease could be, that payment could be more if like he did the tenant finish, for example, like, I spent the money, like I spent the money in building it out. You know what I mean? He didn't. And so leases are different and mine happens to be 13 and here in St. Louis and different markets are different too. And this building was great and still is pretty good. I'm not trying to like shit on it too much because there are good things about this building. It's just that Dylan and in the past also I've built 2 commercial buildings. I built one for my when we first moved out of the garage, and then I built another one when we expanded to double that space in size. The first space that I built when we moved out of the garage was only about, I want to say it was like maybe almost 5,000 feet. And then we had some tenant space also that I leased out. And then the second building was double that. But this one, I think that once you hit 12,000 feet, the size that I am, it's probably not wise to lease. I think you're better off owning. I think you're better off, like my payment, if I were to finance this, for example, and build a building like this, my payment would be less than my lease is at this point. Yeah. And then I would have control. I would have control over parking. I would have control over my HVAC, for example. I have control over some of those things. But when I originally started here, it was a lease ease market. Like it was really good for me. It was in 2009. The economy had crashed and there was lots of space. And so I got a great deal. And so that was my long story about how
I liked it.
Ethically, though, I don't like how he changed it. And right. I think that that bothers me. So I don't want to continue to be, I don't want to have a partnership. I've been here for 12 years. I've made payments for 12 years. That's 12 times 12, 144 months in a row. I have not missed rent.
Okay.
And
144 months.
Yeah.
Right. Is that what you said?
But it always hasn't been 13,000. Are you trying to see how much?
Yeah. Because when you say 13,000 a month, like I know there's like a million printers out there and people that are listening to this are like, yeah, I pay rent. That like makes me sick. It makes me sick that you have to spend 13,000 a month on something that's not yours. Like that grosses me the fuck out.
Well, that's good and bad too, because like, for example, I mean, this place needs a new parking lot, you know, and so what's that going to cost? $60K. I mean, I don't have to put
in. Then it's your fucking parking lot.
That's true. But I don't pay for, I guess I do through TripleNet now, technically pay for some of the maintenance, but
say it was 13,000 this entire time. That's $1,872,000.
It wasn't though. Like we only had 3,000 or we only had 2,500 feet the first time.
Okay. So how long was it like 13,000 roughly?
Well, that's this year. This last year it was 12,500.
Okay.
So it went up like $500.
Let's just say
I figured it. So I wrote him an email actually.
I want to know. I want to know.
It was a long ass email.
Let's just say it's 11,000.
No. You can't do it like that, Dylan. You can't do it like that.
Why?
Because
I want to know what you've spent in this amount of time for a building to have to walk away from something that's not yours.
Hold on. I calculated it. And then we got to get back to Louis.
Louis is listening. Right? He is
Louis.
Yeah. I messed that up.
Louis, quick question, because this is a big issue here in Puerto Rico. How much you pay about electricity over there?
Oh,
it's not bad.
For me, I pay
like $3,000 a month.
In the summer, so if we're running AC, it comes to.
Well, are you running an electric or gas dryer though?
Me electrical.
Yeah, that's why.
Everything electrical, but our electric grind here sucks. We get a lot of no electricity, bad voltage. It's pretty bad here. The electricity issue in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
and it's pretty costly. Even in my apartment, it's pretty bad.
Right. Yeah, I mean, here I can't super complain, but
okay. So here's what I got. When I calculated it, one of my paragraphs goes like this. It says, I know this. I have paid rent here for 12 years. That's 144 payments. I just did a rough calculation, and that totals over $700,000. Plus, I have invested more than $400,000 in upgrades here because we did build outs all along. As you know, electric costs a ton, and so we have, over 1,000 amps of electric running through here. I've upgraded panels,
so you spent over $1 million.
I spent over $1 million. Correct. Mm-hmm. That's in 12 years, dude.
That's disgusting.
You should get
Well, what's interest? No. So if I were to buy a building of this size and this has it has everything we need, right? It has retail in the front. It has office. We built out offices, and it also has industrial in the back. If I were to buy a building of this size, well, what's interest on that? I mean, it would cost a couple $1 million to buy a building like this. And so there's those interest payments. And so whether I'm paying interest to a bank or paying payments to my landlord, that's sort of a wash. And if it's my building and I paid cash for it and I don't have a loan on it, well, then I'm not getting interest on that cash. You know what I'm saying? It's in a building. And so I'm not getting a return on that cash. You know what I mean? Like I've invested it into a building. And so, I mean, I think
I'm not the expert at all. I'm just saying from me being from the podunk town I am and getting the building I got for what I got for it and not owing anything, I'll just basically paying taxes. Like just hearing someone be like, yeah, I have to pay like $13,000 a month. It's like, fuck, that is disgusting.
Yeah, but we live in a major Midwestern city. And
I understand.
He lives in a
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying you're getting robbed. I'm just saying that like, to me personally, it's like, that sucks.
But but it doesn't, because that cost is passed. So like, I know my cost, I know what it's going to cost. I know what my rent is, for example, and it's built in. And so, I mean, I don't lose $13,000 a month. I mean, at the end of the month, I have a couple bucks left over. Yeah. I can buy a cheeseburger, you know, it's okay. You know, I'm not negative every month. And so you kind of figure that out, I guess. And you put in, when I see people ask like, hey, Andy, what's your pricing? Or, hey, I'm just curious, like, what do you charge for this? And you get that kind of question too, I'm sure, Dylan. And I see it on Facebook groups Like, what are you guys charging for
That's the
pricing?
reason
Well,
why I try not to go on Facebook anymore.
well, that is a very personal question, because are you in St. Louis? Are you in Whitney Point, New York? Are you in Manhattan? Are you in Puerto Rico? Are you in San Francisco? Where are you? Because it's totally different markets. And are you a contract printer, or do you have a niche market like you do, when you can do this, sport fishing and stuff, and so you can charge a premium for? I mean, so it's very difficult. We are priced high, and how do I know that? Because I'll have people come here and they say, I need to get a price, and they're like, oh, that's high. The person down the street's cheaper, but they order here. Some people don't. Those aren't my customer.
It's like a funny topic too, because like I said, you think about it, it's like all of us screen printers, because of the internet and everything, like for the most part, I have to stay competitive. You know what I mean? Like you can't charge triple what I want to charge when I have like no overhead and you have a ton of overhead. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we generally have to be around the same thing. So it's just weird to be like,
for that, for example, this year, I'm starting to do my pricing. I used to like go down on pricings for the clients and all that, but fuck that, man. I know, my price is my price. If they want to come here, they come, I'm going to provide the best quality around. I'm sure for that. Right. So if you gotta pay for that.
Have you always been like that? Or when you started, when you were hungry and desperate?
Always. One of the things when I talked to you a couple of minutes before, I used to do shirts in the States, good quality, but price was high. I used to do shirts here in Puerto Rico, bad quality, and the price was high too. And what I didn't like about the screen printers here locally, everything was like closed doors and you couldn't see anything and you don't know what was a screen charge or anything. So that's why most of my, what I wanted to do on the business was because of that. So I wanted to do a great quality print, competitive pricing, and make the client, feel at home, like see the shop and see everything. So my main concern was quality in Puerto Rico, that I didn't saw it on other printers around before I had my business. So that was the main concern here, having a good quality print.
I feel like that's important to, I mean, there's definitely a group of printers that care about quality and they want to produce the best product and they can charge those higher prices. You know what I mean? It's just like you're definitely getting what you pay for in certain places. And then I feel like that's just what we have to like hit to home with a lot of these customers. It's just like, it's definitely you get what you pay for. Like Andy said, like that guy could walk in and be like, hey, wow, you're high. But I know for a fact that if I go to Andy's shop and I pay what he's charging, I know I'm going to get a good shirt. And I know from knowing Andy that if I don't like it, I can just be like, hey, I don't like this shit. Print it again. He's going to print it again for me.
That's right. That we're not perfect. It's not only quality, it's a service too.
But if you go to that guy down the road who's cheaper, he's probably going to print it shittier than Andy anyway. And then if you are like, hey, this is really dog shit, I'd like you to do this again, he's going to tell you to fuck off. So you're kind of double screwed. You know what I mean? It's like,
it happens.
Do it right the first time kind of thing. I feel like all three of us have that mentality of like, I'm going to charge what I'm going to charge. And I'm going to get the kind of clientele that are willing to pay that because they have certain expectations on quality. You know what I mean? And those are the kind of people we want to print for anyway, because it's what we want to do. It's good art. They're not people that want to complain about every little thing. I feel like the people who want to complain about price are the people that want to complain about every little thing about the whole process and the printing and colors and everything else.
Exactly. Another thing I tell my employees, we're not how I say it, we're not the fastest ones printing, but we're the best quality ones. So, I mean, they're not going to be slowly putting a shirt on a pallet. But I mean, when there's times that they want to be fast, that's when you lose quality.
Oh, so, for sure.
We're not the fastest ones, but we're probably the best quality wise around. So keep your calm, keep your posture so we can maintain quality. So we don't need to be the fastest ones. So I try to help them with that when they're in production.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like you got to think about outside of screen printing. And I like to talk about like the trades as like very similar to how I feel screen printing is. And me personally, like with my own home or the shop or whatever, I've hired contractors to like put a roof on or like do drywall or whatever. And it's the same fucking thing. It's like, yeah, there's 100 other people that you can get quotes from and so-and-so is going to be cheaper than the other. And I've done both routes. I've gone the cheap route and you get it and you're like, wow, this blows. Like this is, like getting a roof and then you end up, there's like 30 leaks and then you call them back and be like, hey, this is leaking. And then they try to fix it and then they still don't fix it. And then you're like, you need to come back out and actually fix this until it gets down the line like 4 times. And me and my dad just end up doing it. Like me and my dad are fixing things that we hired someone to do. That's how bad it gets at certain points. It's like, if I would have spent, say the quote was 20,000, if I would have spent 25,000 or 28,000 and just had somebody do it right the first time, like think of all the headaches you save yourself, or the water damage for rafters or, drywall or anything like that. It's like, just do it right the first time. Like,
yeah, I think that's why it's so important to, to build a reputation. And so we all of us, we have the advantage. We've been in business for 10 years and we have at least, right? And so we have this history and we have a reputation in our cities and on Google with Google reviews and Facebook reviews and those kind of things. And so when I put myself in the customer's shoes and what their perspective would be and like if they want to come here and they're going to spend a few $1,000s on some shirts or even $1,000, how confident are they that they're going to get what they're looking for, like the product and the quality and everything, the service that they're looking for. And so I think that we're at a spot now where we've built that reputation that, we are going to deliver and most of the time over deliver. And so they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay with, because it's important to them. Their order is important to them and they want to make sure that it looks good and they get it on time. And sometimes that's more important than what it costs. And so those are the customers that I want. And I think we're there. I think we're there finally, like it took years. Those first years, that's why I asked you. I was like, so did you always, were you always priced high? Because we weren't. We came in and we didn't have work and I was desperate. And so I would do any sort of work and I would do it sometimes for too cheap. Just to get it, to get that work. And sometimes I would even do work for free here and there. When you're just starting, I just had this conversation with my personal trainer the other day. I was like, how did you just start out? How did you start and all of a sudden have clients? Did you go in and say, hey, I would really love to work with you and I'll give you some free sessions, 10 free sessions or whatever to get that client so that you can do a really good job. And then that person does sign up with you and then also tell all of their friends and say, hey, you should go to this dude. How do you get started? Sometimes that's the hardest thing.
Well, I mean, I never did something for free, but like you said, I had good pricing starting, to get the clients and all that. But you start developing your pricing and seeing how much clients you have and you start upscaling your pricing. So yeah, you have good pricings at the start, but you had good prices because you were in the garage of your parents. You have no rents, no electricity to pay. So that's why you can maintain your pricing. But when you move up, you move to a new place, you got to go with your prices a bit higher to pay all those dues and everything. Going back about saying about quality on my part, remember we were doing some sport fishing artworks and designs. So I always tell my employees, hey, I want that good shirt to be done with perfect registration, everything good. Because when we're in the docks, the one they're going to call on the radio, hey, that shirt sucks or everything is going to be me. So, I will see the shirts on the mark, outside the shop as far as the boat market. So I always tell my employees to maintain that quality and everything because I'm going to be around all those boats and everybody with my shirts that I printed. So I try to maintain a good quality. So,
and the challenge is finding a team that also thinks like you, because it's your reputation. This is your reputation. This is your about quality. And then you have to assemble this team or have this team in place that also cares about their reputation, of the place that they work.
The easiest way that I found to describe to them too is it's just like, imagine if this job was for a friend of yours or like a relative or something. Like, you would take the extra time to make sure it was perfect. Like, why are you not doing that for every job? Like, you shouldn't just do that for your friends and be like, oh, this has to come out flawless because it's for somebody I know. It's like, dude, that's how it is for everyone who orders here. They know this place. That's why they came here. Like, they shouldn't get it and just be like somewhat subpar because you just blew through it. It's like, think about that with every single order. It should be flawless
Yeah, I had a guy, he was at quality control. So he was at the end of the dryer. And this is going back a couple of years. And then he decided to do some contracts, or actually his own shirts, right? A shirt for his own thing. And they were selling them. And every time we did one of his orders, like 4 or 5 times in a row, he was hypercritical and rejected something about it. Like, oh, we got to make a new screen for whatever. And I was like, well, that's weird, because that wasn't happening to that, degree when just on all of our other orders, but it was yours that you were really critical about. So I said, take that. And I had a conversation with him. I said, look, we want to make sure that your stuff looks great too, of course, but be that same way with all of the other stuff. If this is so important to you, now you see, like, it's important all the time. You know what I mean? And so remember that. It's tough. I don't know if he's still here. And I don't know. He's the quality control manager now. So, I mean, it worked.
I always said that it doesn't matter if it's a 24 order, you're going to print, or a 1,000 order print. It's got to be take the same quality and care on any order. Doesn't matter. So
right.
That I tell every time to my employees. So you need to take care of everything.
Are you doing anything different this year to upgrade as far as shop wise, like press wise or anything?
Not this year, but we had a big issue when we opened after the first COVID thing, 2020, March. We had a big issue about reorders as far as color, choosing the same color we did on the first order and the second order. Before, and this was before other employees we had before. So before, they would choose they had a paper with the colors, and they choose, I think it's that color for this. When they do the second order, I think it's that color we did on the first order. So when I came back after the March 2020, I said, we need to do something about reorders and, do something perfect, perfect the reorder method on choosing the ink. So what I did is we had a tons of colors. I number all of them. So every time there's an order, we need to do a paperwork with the order, with the color number. So when the order comes back again, we choose the exact color we use on the first order. Mm-hmm. Because before that, nobody knew the color. You could probably put the green that wasn't the right green. So that way we can maintain consistency on each order. I don't know if you guys do that on your
part. Are you
maintain consistency?
Are you using like a stock color? You have like 40 colors.
We have a couple of, we have tons. We use a lot of quartz. So we have a lot of quartz colors, and we have Pantone colors. We have gallons that are stock colors, but we have tons of colors. So maintaining the consistency for each client on a reorder, we have that type of method to every reorder. So it works a lot. And to fasten the process, because when we have a reorder, we just go to the paper, choose the ink, and that's and we use the revolver process and everything.
Yeah, we Pantone everything, like every job, every color. It's all a Pantone number. So we know next time, we use 288C for blue. Let's use 288C next time. All that other stuff. It's never like, I know people that have stock colors are like, oh, this is fucking water blue or some bullshit.
Well, if the client pay for the Pantone matching system, we'll use it. But
right. I'm just saying for us internal, we want to be like, this is the exact Pantone, this is the exact color.
Yeah.
And we're using a mixing system too. So like if we need to make more, we know we're making more of this color. And now that we have like the Monarch system, we can say, they're ready for use. So I could be like, okay, we want to use this pink or this whatever that's on the actual bucket. Like we could write that in, but if we're not writing in that actual bucket color, it's going to be a Pantone color. Yeah. But either way, it's still the same. Like I could be like, okay, it's Reflex Blue. We'll just grab Reflex Blue gallon and use it. But if it's...
Yeah, I think the only time we're burned is when something changes on press. And so that's happened to us on reorders where, we call out a certain green, right? Whatever number that is, it could be a Pantone or one of our stock greens. And then you get to press, and for whatever reason, it once it's on an underbase or something, maybe it's too light. And so we go with a darker color. And if we don't note it right then and go and change a proof, which is what we have now, there's a new rule. So our rule is if there's a color change on press, the designer has to go and output a brand new proof with the correct color before it's approved before we can proceed. Because in the past, it's been like, okay, cool, let's print this with the darker color and go change it. And so they go back to their desk and then there's a phone call or there's an email or somebody asks them a question and then they forget. And so then there goes the reorder 6 months later and we put the wrong green in and we start the whole process over. We either print it wrong, the lighter version of it or something, or we just go through the whole process again. Oh, we put that wrong green in. Now we got to clean it out and put a different green in. You know what I mean? It's a hassle.
Yep.
That happens too much here still.
It happens.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of an easy fix to like figure that system out. And then you never have to do that ever again. It's like, I feel like that's our job as the owners though, is to figure out stupid little systems with stuff like that and be like, all right, let's find a way to make sure this doesn't ever have to happen again. We don't have to have this discussion. We don't have to have questions. And we had a meeting about that a little while ago where Zach actually told me, he's like, I feel like this week I walked in the office like 100 times unnecessarily to ask a question that could have been answered if it was noted on the schedule or if it was noted on the work order or whatever. So we had a meeting of like literally anything that pertains to this order, note it on either the schedule or it's noted on the mock-up form. So that, anything they would need to know, like the printers know nothing about the customer. They know nothing about the stuff that you talked about. If there's any specific detail, like the customer was like, yeah, I like this, but I'd really like to look more on the vintage side, whatever. Like, yeah, you could write vintage white in there, but they want to know, like, note, like customer requested this to look extra vintage.
Yeah. But
and it's like,
I think that comes down to those notes are only as good as the people who are writing them down and as much as they remember, you know what I mean? So like communication sometimes is so tough here. So we'll have instances where, let's say, for example, we have an order for 50 shirts and the designer designs for 50 shirts. And then the customer says, oh, I want to add, 10 hoodies. And then the customer service rep adds the 10 hoodies, but never tells the designer. And then all of a sudden he's output the file and it's too big and it won't fit on a hoodie. So those all of a sudden we're setting up the job and they're carting it and they're like, oh, wait, time out. Job won't even, the print won't fit on these hoodies. What are we going to do? Yep. And so it's only as good as the people that are entering that data because sometimes it slips through the cracks. And what really needed to happen is the customer service rep, although they catch it most of the time, there are times where they're like, oops, I was in the middle of 10 things. There was a customer at the counter. I saw that you even said that, by the way, hey, I didn't enter it in. We use Monday. I didn't enter it in Monday that we added hoodies. And so the designer never saw the fact and they're just as surprised, and so we get burned like that still. And so I'm trying to come up with a way that there can be a person that discovers that as early as possible.
It's the same thing, like you said, with the color, like make the rule right then and there to change the work order to be that color. And it's like, that was in part of that discussion that we had with the team was like, okay, if you have a customer who wants multiple items, you need to mock up multiple items. Like if they want like 50 different shirt colors and it's the same shirt, I don't give a shit. Like make one mock-up. But if they're getting like tees and hoodies, there needs to be 2 mock-ups on that mock-up form. There needs to be mocked up on a tee. And it needs to be mocked up on a hoodie. Because of that, I want them to know that it's going on tees and hoodies. And also on the schedule, it needs to be noted that this print is going on like tees and fleece so that they can prep their schedule to be like, okay, these are the fleece items today. And these are the, whatever, so that they can put them in the correct order.
Well, I think that works. And I think that works in normal, manageable volume. But sort of like if you're a server at a restaurant, everything's cool when you have 1 table or 2 tables or 3 tables. But all of a sudden, if somebody sat you 10 tables and you're just like, oh my God, and you're doing 1,000 things and it's crazy, then we make mistakes. We're human beings. And so I think that we started to have a talk before we broke for the holidays. And I'm like, look, we do things really well here. We're really successful. And most of our orders go off without a hitch. We should be proud of that, right? But we do have these mistakes and we make them every day because there's so many orders. Every day there's a mistake. And I think that there always will be mistakes, but how do you reduce those? And so I think some of these things, like you said, Dylan, like if you just did it right then and there, if you made just
I just feel like most of it starts in customer service. They need to get it dialed in before it even goes to production.
We should like fire all the customer service.
I'm just saying production shouldn't have to think about stuff. They should just be like, okay, these are the shirts I need. This is how I'm setting up this press, print the job, go to the next one. They shouldn't be like making decisions. They shouldn't be like, well, this green doesn't look correct. Or, I mean, yeah, like if you look at it and it's a no brainer, it's like common sense. Like this doesn't look good. Bring it to customer service and fix it. But like they shouldn't have to make on the fly decisions. They shouldn't be like, oh, let me change this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Because then it never gets noted. Luis, how do you deal with that in your shop?
Well, for that, I have a great designer called Charlie. So my guys in production always come to Charlie, and Charlie will fix all my problems. You know, they have a good communication with him, and you know, if anything changes, you know, we need to call the customer. Charlie will do it. So, you know, I'm going to tell you something. I prefer 10 color prints for bolts, halftones, 305 match, rather than having 160 artworks, 3 colors. Because the 305 match and a full color design, halftones, they will register very fast, and the imperfection will fix it very fast. So I really prefer doing full color artworks as far as having them, you know, producing them very fast. But, you know, to deal with those errors, Charlie, my designer, helps me a lot with the team in production. So we have good communication, and we use Printout a lot for production notes and etc. So we have good communication in the shop for those errors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys work at that way too. But my designer works a lot with that.
Yeah,
I think we have good communication, but I mean,
yeah, it happens.
I think it happens. I think we're in the spot of probably just too busy with not the right, some of our systems are flawed. You know, we're not perfect. That's for sure. Yeah. And so I don't know how to it's tough because I don't know which thing to work on. I have this list of things to work on that are super important, and what's priority. I think I've prioritized them, but you know, all of a sudden it's going to be busy again. Dylan and I were talking about this a minute ago. It's going to be busy again, and I'm only going to get to so many of them. And I'm going to give people different projects to take. I can't do all of it myself. And so I'm going to delegate, and we're going to see where we get, you know, by the end of the month. And so I fear though, which has already happened, that we're going to be out a lot of people, because I already have 2 tell me they can't make it tomorrow because of COVID. You know, because I think about a bunch of people got together for the holidays, and we're going to see what happens.
We had some cases here last week, couple of weeks. We needed to close about a week because of COVID. It was pretty spiked up here in Puerto Rico.
That's rough. Very rough.
What is your role now at the shop? Are you mostly just doing marketing, or what are you doing there?
I'm in and out the shop a lot with my other job. My wife, I'm starting to pass her over the baton. You know, she's doing a great job here, helping me a lot. But yeah, I'm every morning here with the guys, you know, do the calendar work, what we're going to do in the mornings on the whole week. So I'm in and out. But I have, you know, the best tool we have nowadays is the phone. So I work a lot by the phone. But yeah, I'm pretty communicating with the guys here in the shop, and, you know, they call me for everything. But I'm in and out the shop right now. My wife is running it lots time during the day.
Did you bring her into this industry, or was she like with you in the beginning and started the whole thing? She
started with me since the beginning. Since we were in the garage, helping me out, you know, learning and everything. Starting to learn more on the production side. She's more into the sales part, but she needs to know everything, you know, so she can communicate it on the sales part.
Was she your wife when you were in the garage, or girlfriend?
No, girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Girlfriend. Yeah. We married in 2017.
And she was a pretty good printer, so you're like, okay, this one's a keeper.
Actually, she was a good painter. She paints canvas, you know, artwork. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. My wife does that too.
Yeah.
You guys are basically the same person.
Yeah.
So is there any differences, I guess, that you know of between like printers in America and printers in Puerto Rico?
I think the market's a bit, but there's not too many differences. Like I said, we started from garage. You guys do a lot of like started with rock bands and all that. We don't do that much here. Word of mouth is the same market as you guys.
What about like supplies and equipment and all that stuff?
We have a supplier here, like emulsion, those basic things. It gets me here. But as far as roll tack glue, I order from the States. What else? Matches, frames, I order it outside. I try to maintain some roller frames so I can restretch it here because, sending frames to Frank is pretty expensive, to ship it to here. So we do a lot of roller frames so we can stretch it here. And we have a good guy here that supplies, emulsion, haze. I'm starting to, this year we started to change more eco-friendly products, screen openers, the haze, so I don't want to be too harmful to my employees.
Right.
This guy I told you that worked for me with the garage, he just died this year of cancer. He's been in the industry probably 40 years, 30 years. And those screen openers, they tend to harm you. You need to be careful with that. So I'm starting to use new eco-friendly screen openers on all our chemicals and products on the production part.
Right. How about blanks? Are you having any issues getting blanks?
Yeah, we're having some issues. We have a TSF supplier here, but same as you guys. We don't, they have inventory, shirts and all that is pretty hard. Our time on quoting to get the shirts takes more time than it used to be. And
so do you buy from Florida, like your blanks?
Yeah, we buy from Florida.
How long does that take?
3 days. Can be here 2 days, 3 days. Yeah, UPS ground or USPS. But yeah, our market stays here locally mostly. I have a lot of clients in the state, boating guys, and even in the Caribbean, Curacao. But the problem is getting my orders. I need to ship it here, so I need to add that cost to my orders, plus shipping them back to you guys. Our shipping costs from here to the States is more expensive than you guys interstate, So that's a bit of a hard market for me, shipping to US. But yeah, we have some clients over there too that are constantly with us and doing orders with us usually. But yeah, it's a bit, the inventory thing is been harmful for everybody.
So what's next for you guys? You got any plans or just kind of the same thing?
As far as planned this year, as far as equipment, we're trying to get a CTS, computer to screen equipment. I think that's a plus on every job.
What one are you going to go with?
Still don't know. My salesperson over at M&R has asked me a couple of questions if I do more than 40 screens a day. I tell him, yeah, sometimes I do more, sometimes I don't do too much screens, but it's a plus. But more on the part of the roll paper thing. Bringing the roll paper here for the inkjet printer, it costs me like, the roll is about $90 plus shipping. By the time you're almost paying a CTS machine, with and we use a lot of roll paper.
That's what's funny is they ask those questions of like, oh, how many screens do you need to produce a day? Like, I feel like that's only relevant if you're a shop that's doing like a shitload of screens a day, that you would be like, oh, I need like a 2-head machine, or I need this other bigger one. I feel like at any time as a screen printer, you could get a CTS unless you're doing like a 4-color single station manual in your garage. It's like, to me, it's a quality thing. It's not necessarily I need to do this many screens a day thing. It's like,
yeah, it's a quality and a tri-sync thing. I mean, if you're looking to really take advantage of just quick setups, I mean, it's quality, it's quick setups. It's, you don't have to store film. You don't have to, like you said, buy film. It's all all that
Another
stuff
thing
is over.
Sometimes we need to reprint some of the colors on or the films. And I don't know why my printer doesn't register unless there is good tension on the roll. If we were printing a 10 color job on the last part of the roll, and we needed to reprint any color because of any change. When we print it back again, it won't register on the machine. So we would need to take everything down just for one color, probably.
We had that situation, same situation.
You can get like heat from when it's like printing, or it'll warp the film or whatever. It's just like I don't remember what it was because it's a long time ago now, but we had it like a measurement where if it was anything over, I don't know what it was, like so many inches of printing on film, we had to cut and start another print, because if you did like, you tried to gang up a bunch of prints and do one super long print on a roll, it would eventually like warp them because of like the weight of the film or, whatever. There was all these things. It's just like, you don't have to think about that. You don't have to think about light undercutting. You don't have to think about pinholes from the glass on the exposure. Like there's a ton of variables. It's like, just get rid of a bunch of those and go with the CTS. Like regardless of which one you do, if you do like the eye image or you do the wax unit, or you now even do the laser, it's like, I would just look at all three of those and see what one works best for you guys. Yeah.
We need to do some research on that, but that's a plus this year. We need to do that as far as, reducing those costs on the film itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you going to ISS?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, my boss just told me we were doing a calendar for the next year for fishing. We're going to be doing the Caribbean, Bahamas. So if I have time to go, I'll go. I've gone before I go to Orlando when I started from my garage. But yeah, I need to get more into the shows and everything.
Yeah, if you go to Long Beach, you'd be able to look at all three of those, all three of those machines in action. Or actually, I guess not M&Rs, but you would see other ones. So
you guys have used to have an MR and have another brand, I think.
Yeah, Dylan has the iImage S. Yeah, great machine. And I have a wax machine.
And I'm actually thinking about switching to laser. So I might do that this year as well. So
he's just doing that to spite me though, so that we can argue. Basically, was the main logic.
Literally why I make all my purchases, is to be able to shit on Andy as much as possible. Well, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, think of which one works best for you, because there's different things with each one. Like the iImage is great. I love it. It works good. But it also, like, my challenge is what we were talking about earlier is space. Like you were saying, like you're limited on space. So for me, with going to laser is it's supposed to produce a better quality dot and all this other stuff, but it's also takes up so much less space in the darkroom, because you're getting rid of the iImage and the light table, like the exposure. So with both of those gone and one unit that's flat up against the wall, I'm going to have so much more darkroom space. So even if the laser is a little bit better than the other thing, I'm still gaining another 12 feet in my darkroom.
For sure, I'm going to get space throwing away all those old films on the darkroom by far. We have all them stacked up with manila envelopes hanging, so that if we take those out, we are going to have space. Probably.
Oh, that was a huge thing when we switched too. Like we had a whole room dedicated to films. Exactly. And it was like this whole wall of just like film. And it was like I said, you print the film, you tape this film on a carrier sheet, you take it in the dark room and burn it, and then you bring it back out. You have to then sort them again, and then you have to sort them again when you're hanging them up, or however you're putting them by invoice number or alphabetically or whatever. And then they have to sit there, and then you have to make sure they're in a room where they're not going to get like moisture on them, and then you get like the snowflake looking things all over them. It's like all of that is gone. Like you don't have to worry about that anymore. So anything else this year, or even not even this year, like in 5 years in the future, you got a plan?
Well, like I said, moving out, probably getting a better place, bigger, wider. Producing, doing the best shirts in Puerto Rico.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
That's the only answer I needed.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, do you want to do...
I didn't saw Andy with his beer.
I have... I decided not to drink today. I didn't even drink that much on New Year's. This whole weekend, I don't know. I haven't had a lot, but I have your beers sitting here. I showed them on an episode. When is that? It's coming out next?
Tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. Yeah. I talked about them. They're which one is your favorite, by the way, that you sent me?
Well, medallas are our local brand, like a national brand. I'm drinking that they don't do too much shirts with us, so don't give them too much promotion. But
Right here?
but yeah, that's our local national brand. They sell a lot here, so should be the best one for you.
All right, I'll have a sip. It's going to be, it's foamy. It's going to be a little warm.
No. Hey, chug it. You got to do the whole thing right now.
Yeah,
I'm not shotgunning this.
He
but I
said
have a
yes.
taste.
I'll do it with you. Want me to do it with
They're going
you?
to do it together. Double chug. Ready?
Cheers.
Go.
Yours is shorter, so
Hey, I'll sip water.
Dylan, there was another one. He set you up with yours is shorter. He didn't say shit.
the beer.
I'm trying. All right.
No, I think we have questions for us. That's what's next, right?
Yeah. Hey, yeah, sure.
Question for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, let me see. Any acquisitions too, like this year, getting something new? You guys have tons of equipment. I don't know anything new you can get.
I love how we both did that at the same time. We were both like, I'm getting hopefully a bunch of stuff. I'm hoping to get the laser. I don't know when exactly I'm going to do that. I just ordered another auto and a dryer. So I got another Sportsman and a Fusion that I'm trying to order. I may be getting another M&R press, hopefully a 10 or a 12 color to replace my 8 color Sportsman. And I think that's it for this year. More just trying to get better processes and stuff in the shop, but that's not equipment wise. Andy,
Also,
you ordered some stuff as well.
I have a press on the way. Install is scheduled for
February,
the
right?
first week of March or the last week of February. Yeah, one of those two. So we will see. It's going to replace I have an 8 color Sportsman, our first press here, and I'm going to sell it and I'm going to replace it with 14 color Cobra.
Nice. It's like happened to me here. Nobody sees now the chameleon. It's like a loner over there. We do it for caps, for foam caps, we'll use it, but only one color. So those 10 colors are in the past on that machine. So every time you get a brand new machine, the old one starts getting like more to the side. Nobody sees them.
And that was the discussion we had in the pregame was it's just like, I have that Sidewinder that barely ever gets used. And when it is used, it's only used for one color stuff. So I'm just getting it out of here. I know we've had this discussion for years of like, should we get rid of the manual? I'm just getting it the fuck out. Like I don't care.
When I opened here, I restarted. And when I opened here, all I had was that 8 color Sportsman. I did not have a manual. And I was like, okay, I know I can make this work. I won't need the manual. But then about, 6 months into it, I ordered the manual because I just ran into jobs that it would have been so much easier if I had it, but we were a different shop back then. So now fast forward to where we are, I would say that
literally what gets printed on your manual other than tags?
So
transfer sheets,
99% tags. But I had this idea. To find a good manual printer, person, employee, so that he can print, because ours is a 6 color, and so that he could print fixes on it. So if we have a 2 shirt fix or a 5 shirt fix, or she have a 5 shirt fix, then they could print, those fixes and keep them off our autos. Because one of the things that slows us down during the day is when we have to set up a 4 color job, let's say, for one shirt because it had a hole in it or something, and we have to put that on an auto. And so wouldn't it be cool to put it on our manual? I don't know, just a thought, because our autos run in teams, right? And so there's that labor. There's 3 people that are dealing and printing
with
one
a 4
shirt.
color, or one shirt.
With on the manual, it would just be that one person. He or she could set it up and print it. So that's a thought anyway. But
as long as you had enough work for that person to be on there, or they were someone who knew how to manually print really well, but they also had another task at your shop that they could do all day long.
Right. I think you're right. There's definitely not 8 hours of manual printing here
every day.
Now. So no.
Nobody wants manuals.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love the idea. I think we talked about this before. Like, I love the idea of handmade, handcrafted, printed t-shirts or something cool about that. We talked to like aisle 6 in Australia or New Zealand, one of those two. Don't want to mad at me. I think it's Australia.
Yes.
And you know, there's something to it. Like it's really cool to hand print a t-shirt. But when it comes down to a production shop like ours is, and especially for you with 10 color prints on 100 shirts, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You have to go to auto if you actually want to go home that day, you know, just to get it done.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
We're done. I think we're almost done. Because I think I had another question. What would be your biggest regret on the business so far? And I heard Andy that said his landlord. So choosing that landlord.
Yeah.
So pretty good on that.
Dylan, no regrets?
I don't have any regrets. I mean, I have some things I wish didn't happen, but I mean, they made me who I am. So I guess it is what it is and no regrets. But I don't know. I talked about this before, but mine was the partnership.
Oh yeah.
Mine too. Partnership. If I start a business again, I will do it by myself. I'm not saying that it didn't help out, but at the end of the day,
it's just, it puts a really bad taste in my mouth. And I have a lot of friends that are starting like here and there, always like they try to start a business or something. And I can tell they hit like a slight road, like a bump in the road. And they're like, oh, I think I should get a partner or whatever. I'm like, nope, grind that shit out, dude. Like figure that block yourself and then continue on and do it yourself. Like do not bring someone in to just get you from A to B faster. Like just fucking do it by yourself. I promise you, because as soon as the other person comes up with an idea and you don't support it or the other way around, shit gets bad and it's not worth it.
Yeah. My stepson, Joanne's son, had created a Google Doc for a business he wants to start for the summer. It's a lawn mowing business. And as you know, my first business was MoPro, an incredibly successful, business that I started in high school. Well, he wrote out this business plan and it was pretty good. Like I had nothing to do with it. And he showed it to me yesterday. And I was like, wow, you know, for 15 years old, he thought about a lot of stuff. But one of the things in there was he has a partner. And I wanted to tell him. But
you ripped it up and threw it at him and start over. But I also decided not to. And I'll let him figure this out. Because if you say, look, you know, having a partner could be problematic and here's some of the things that could go sour and then what, and you know, who owns it and all these kind of things. I could have told him all that and he'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever, but it's not going to go that's not going to happen. And so I think that this is like the perfect time for him to experience it and for himself, like a great life lesson is just to have a partner. Cool. Fine. Have the partner and see how that goes. I agree with you, but I feel like there's two things you should try to do. Like, yeah, you should. In a business, you should be super passionate about what you're trying to do, because if you're not going to keep doing it. It's just not going to happen. If you want to be in business for 10, 20, 30 years or whatever, you need to love whatever it is you're doing. You can't just be in it for the money. The other thing is you should learn shit the hard way, and you will learn shit the hard way just through doing it. But I feel like it's important too to have or try to have some kind of mentor, even if it's not in your industry, someone who's just an old dog that's fucking done a bunch of stuff or been like, hey, you know what happened to me when I didn't pay taxes, or when you go down this road, or you try to rent this, or you try to have a partner or whatever else. Like you should hear words of wisdom from people that have done it before. Like you shouldn't just be like, oh, I know everything and just blindly go into business. You should talk to some people and be like, hey,
I think you're right.
Tell me some shit that like went wrong with you and that you learned from, so that you can at least have that in the back of your mind of like, when you come into a situation or a scenario of like, oh yeah, I remember from when Tom told me that fucking he did this thing and that was a bad idea.
Do we all have kids? Do you also have kids?
No, I don't have kids.
He doesn't. Okay. Good so I think that the mentor most of the time can't be your dad.
No,
you know?
well,
I think that's tough.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that to a degree, but it's like, my original mentor when I first started, I say mentor super loosely. He was just a dude that he was my wife's old boss, and he owned a real estate company. And like when I had questions about like business, it was always just business questions. It was never like about screen printing or anything like that. Like I would talk to him about it, and he taught me like some things about like cash flow and all this other stuff. Like this was a perfect example. I was like, oh, I want to spend all this money and pay this thing off like immediately because that's how I am. And I'm just like, I don't want to have debt. I'm going to pay this off. And he's like, well, why would you do that? Because you're taking all your savings and you're blowing it on this thing to pay it off. But then you have no cash flow. You have no working capital. You have none of this. He's like, this isn't going anywhere. And it's really low interest. Like, why even bother? Just cash flow wise, just pay that monthly bill instead of throwing everything you have at it now, to where if something comes along, you have no capital to work with. There was just stuff like that where I was just like, oh, like that makes sense. Like it has nothing to do with me getting better at business. It just is words of wisdom from somebody to be like, I've done this.
Well, I think that's really true and good. But I think that when it comes to your children, though, you have to tiptoe around certain things. And I've always, the way I always handled it was if my son ever asked me for advice, then I'd give it to him and I'd say, hey, here's some things to consider. And I would give him that information. I'd mentor him, I guess. I'd parent him, and then I'd let him go out and either fail or succeed or failure, or one of the two, because they're both a success, really, because you're going to figure it out. You know, you're young enough, it's not going to matter. And he's going to go out into the world and make those decisions. But I think that there's plenty of times where he said, hey, Dad, I'm going to do this. And he didn't ask me what I thought, like, hey, and I wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, well, he doesn't want my opinion, and he wants to, that's part of growing up and maturing. And he's just telling me what he's going to do, go do it. Even though I wanted to say something and I knew that was probably a mistake. Sometimes I think you just have to let him go out there and fail. So that's why I didn't say, I told him that I want to have a conversation with him about this business, because we didn't have enough time. We got into a very serious Uno match.
Right. Is he doing this for school, or is he legit trying to start a mowing business?
Right now he works as a dishwasher at 15. And as you know, that's like a shit job. It's like the bottom of the totem pole, worst possible job you can have. But it's really important to have a terrible job like that, because you soon figure out that, look, I don't want to do this for a living. You know, like I want to actually, I don't know, stay in school or do something else, right? I'm not cut out to be a dishwasher. And so I think it's important to learn that. He's also not just learning that he doesn't want to do that. He's learning that, how to be a coworker and how to work, how to clock in at at a shop that's not like his mom and dad's, you know. So he's out at this pizza place, and has to work with people. And so I think that's for some really good lessons. One, we pulled up to pick him up like a month ago. It was a Friday night. He was supposed to get up at 10:30, and it was 10:45, and then it was 11. And I'm like, fuck, like we're sitting out in the car, but I'm not going to go up there and knock on the door or call him and say, hey, tell the owner you have to go. We're just going to, because that's a bad look, right? So just whatever it is, finish up. And when they let you go, then you can come out. And so we sat out in the car for like 40 minutes and waited for him. And so he's doing good. He actually worked until, what was it? Like, I don't know, after 11, and he's 15 years old. That's pretty cool. But what
he was really smoking weed out behind the dumpster with a buddy.
Well, I hope not. I hope that
definitely what was happening.
I'm sure that will happen one day, but I think that at this point right now, he's not smoking any weed. But I would say there was a couple other things in that business plan that like I really could, like we need to have a talk, because I'm like, look, if you did this, and have you considered this actually? Because you should. And if he does it and if he takes my advice, cool. If he doesn't do it, cool. You'll figure it out. You'll learn one way or the other. And so I really like that. I think that we have that sometimes where dads will come in here. I think we talked about this one episode where a dad will come in here with a kid, and the kid's like, yeah, I'm going to start a t-shirt brand. I'm going to have a brand, and they're in high school, and the dad is like handling everything about it. They're like, oh, well, here, give me the pricing and do this and do this. And the kid's just sort of there with the designs. I want to be the dad that has, like, the kid should do the talking.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
This is for both of you. How many times have you had someone come in to apply for a job and they brought their mom or dad with them, and the mom and dad does all the talking? They're like, hey, this is my son. This is my son. He's looking for a job. Do you have anything available? And I immediately dismiss that person. I'm like, nope, get the fuck out of here.
I do too. This happened
why
2
the
weeks
fuck
ago.
would you bring your mom?
I have people texting me, hey, do you have something for my kid? So, but not coming like.
Dude, the kid needs to fucking walk his ass in here by himself or herself and be like, hey, are you hiring? If you are, here's all my info. Shake my hand. Do the whole thing. Like, you need to be a responsible human being and come in and do that yourself. Because when you're here working, your fucking mom's not gonna like be here.
100%. And it just happened to me, but
it's happened here like at least 30 times.
When he came in, he did the talking, but his mom was right there. But still, that's like a strike because you need to walk in by yourself and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I need an application. Don't have your mom standing there because that's just bad. It's bad luck. Yeah. It's an instant, probably for me, it's an instant.
I mean, unless your mom's super hot, but like, I mean,
you give her the job to her.
Right. Because then I can be like, hey, you can work here as long as your mom hangs out too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just don't bring your mom or dad in. Just don't.
Hey, Dylan, going back to that mentor thing, I guess the best mentor is going to be your accountant.
That's true. Yeah.
It's going to tell you everything, where you're going to spend your money and everything.
Yeah.
My accountant is the best for that.
I actually just had a meeting with mine right before Christmas, and I told her, I was like, hey, I'm going to come in, very beginning of the year, and I want you to like, just tell me everything. Be like, is there anything that I'm not doing that I should be doing? Is there, anything we can do to improve certain things, or what do you want to do? Let's just lay it on me. I mean, there's always that, but like I said, there's just nice to get like, a father figure or whatever, some person to just be like, hey, dipshit. Like I want someone to be honest with me. You know what I mean? I don't want someone to sugarcoat things and be like, oh, you should do this and you should do this and hope it works out for you, bud. I want someone to be like, hey, fuckhead. Like, this is a bad decision. Like, this is what happened to me. This is why this happened, and take it or leave it. I want them to say at the end, because I'm either going to use their advice or I'm not going to, and I'm going to find out the hard way on my own. I just like that, like someone being real with me kind of thing. So
I have a mentor on the boating industry. When I do the deliveries, I have a guy called Frank. Actually, he's from the States. And I call him, hey, do I do this inlet? Don't go that fucking inlet. Go to another one, So this is the guy I always call when doing deliveries and everything. So yeah, it's good having a mentor every time in any business.
It's huge. Yeah, for sure. All right. Andy, are you, do you have any shop hacks?
Nope. Too much tricks. What you guys do often, like besides the shop, you guys do like any sports? Like here we have tons of guys that do BMX. I do jiu-jitsu. I do kite. Everybody here do something as part of the shop.
For me, it's movies. My release is to watch a movie or go to the movies. That's my favorite thing.
He has a bike. Go for a ride.
Or motorcycles, yeah. Mm-hmm. But usually I'm riding my motorcycle to a movie. Or, just riding around in the summertime is amazing. It's definitely one of my most fun things to do. But
it should be cold right now there to get the motorcycle.
Oh yeah, I can't ride it now. Yeah, it's like 6 months of the year for me. Like it's 6 months outside, 6 months inside. That's how it works. Yeah. So, those are my only two things really. That and like I said, my passion is here. So I want to work on something that's here. Andy?
I go for walks. And I make videos sometimes. I also have try to learn how to play the guitar, which I'm not very good at, but I'll mess around and every once in a while come up with something that sounds good. So
some sick licks.
Nice.
So yeah, there's that. And I also watch movies. I don't think as many as Dylan, but that's one of our first questions and quick takes. Maybe we should.
Yeah, let's do quick takes.
Go right into it. So yeah, I'll start it and then it's the next question. So what is one thing you need every day?
Coffee,
First thing in the morning, cup of coffee.
for sure. Wakes you up.
You have good coffee there?
We have a good espresso machine here. We use every day. Yeah, we are buying like local pots because getting from Nespresso is pretty expensive. But yeah, need to get coffee, early morning, have that boost up to talk with the guys here and get everything straight up.
What shows are you watching right now? Do you have any?
I don't see too much shows. I don't see too much TV. But shows, not too much shows.
Don't watch a whole lot of
I'm
TV.
boring guy. Those like the only Latin.
Well, you like being on the boat, right?
Yeah, I love fishing, love cruising. Yeah.
I think if I lived on the ocean, I probably wouldn't watch TV. I'd just jump on the boat.
I feel like that's a thing though. Like, yeah, I mean, you lake people or people near the water, they have a boat. That's what they do. They're like, yeah,
like
I'm bored. I'm going
sports.
to go on the boat.
I like watching sports, Actually, we have the best catcher, Puerto Rico. It plays there in San Luis with the Cardinals. Have you
Molina?
heard it? Yeah, it's Puerto Rican.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did not know.
Yeah,
Any
you
next
should
one,
now.
Oh, me. Yeah. So what advice would you give your younger self?
What advice? Man, to do what you are passionate about. You mean to the younger ones, you mean?
Say if it was you talking to you, like you were the mentor to someone just starting out.
Do what you like. Do what my father is a doctor. My brother is a doctor. I could have run that business too, do that profession. I just, like I told you, I hop in a boat. I learned to do reverse and forward on a boat. I love going from point A to point B. Mix it up now with the shirts, seeing an artwork of a boat on a computer and then printing it on a shirt. Man, I think I have two of the best jobs in the world,
That's awesome.
Driving boats and making shirts. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Do what you're passionate, follow what you want. Don't follow what they
want you to do.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about living in Puerto Rico?
Well, climate, sunny every year. You have beach, all around the island. The people, great people here. So I love living here,
Right.
Everything is close too. So the only thing we don't like living here right now, and everybody will tell you, is the damn electricity here. Like I told you, outages every time of the year.
Whenever I see pictures, it's always like the architecture. It looks so cool. The colors and everything. It's beautiful.
The culture, everybody here, it's great. It's great.
All right. Next question. What gets you pumped?
Pump. It's gonna be true, and you're gonna be with me. On the screen printing business, you can have, you can make profit over any order or whatever. But when you get an email of a client telling you that the shirts were great, that you guys rock the best shirts, man, that's way more than making profit of an order or being happy. That pumps you up and makes you have, more power for every order, next order. It pumps you up other than money, It's great having those emails sometimes or comments in Instagram that the shirts were great, that you guys rock our employees' uniforms. It's way more than making money. That pumps me out a lot. I guess you're going to be that. I mean,
I feel that.
Agree with me too.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. What really pisses you off?
When a client doesn't call them and tell them it was a great job and they say
When they email and say it was shitty.
When my wife didn't cure. How about that when we were starting, the white curing was pain in the ass for us. I don't know if
I feel like that's just a hurdle that everyone has to go through.
It happened
Yeah.
a lot. White curing her sucks. Pissed me off. Telling me that you're not coming to work, employee. late in the morning.
A good
Yeah,
one.
nobody likes that.
Yeah.
All right, final
Andy.
question. What's for dinner?
It's for dinner. My wife makes the best mac and cheese. I'm gonna send one too. So I know you're a fan of it, but probably mac and cheese today.
Yeah, I love mac and cheese.
She does a great Nutella creme brulee too.
So you're telling me she makes this mac and cheese from scratch, or she's going to make like
Yeah,
this
for
craft?
sure. No.
She makes the best Kraft mac and cheese.
Puerto Ricans are great cookers, so they cook good.
Because JoJo, she makes her mac and cheese is from the box. It's really good though.
No.
She measures the ingredients perfectly. And
We use half and half or heavy cream. Cheddar cheese, different types of cheese. Put it on the oven. It's the best. Butter truffle on it. It's the best. Probably gonna have that. And usually on Sundays we have like a local ice cream guy here that we eat. So for sure it's gonna be ice cream too.
Nice. Well, thanks, man, for coming on with us. It's awesome to have you. I'm glad.
Thank you guys. I was scared actually. I thought about it before we started. Sometimes we're in production, the power goes out. And probably will come on a day. We have a power outage. We have before the COVID, since we have no power since February to May, 4 months without power. I need to rent a generator.
That's awful.
It was bad. But the COVID came in between, so it didn't hurt that much. But
Right, it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, enjoy your Sunday. I hope that mac and cheese rolls. And we'll talk to you later.
More than welcome to come to Puerto Rico whenever you guys want.
Would love,
You
love,
heard that,
love
Andy, right?
to do that. Yeah, I heard that loud and clear. Thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah, you should
Great talking
come
to
down.
you. Have a great night.
Super guys. Take care.
Hey, man. Later.